comfy, sexy, smart, and looking so good like an overall champion, go to Sully shirts today, ladies and gentlemen. Yes, we have everything your heart desires for FormulaOCE. Check it out today. And don't forget to check out the Sully shirt store as well. It's a great store full of great stuff. Check it out today. And don't forget to check out our YouTube channel for FormulaOCE, past races, current races. Check it all out at FormulaOCE on the YouTube channel. And don't forget, here on the Twitch channel, don't forget to follow, subscribe to help us out. And folks, don't forget our partners, Oceania Premier Sim League and Rapid Racing League.
Here we go. 3-man line.
Going away, it's Jared versus Ryan, the final race.
Here we go, chat. We got 4, we got 5.
We got 4 lights, 5 lights. And away we go.
I've disconnected again, haven't I? I've disconnected again.
Oh my goodness.
Oh my god.
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Going 3 wide. Oh my goodness.
On the pit straight, Kangaroo down to the P3. Oh my god, there's multiple cars going wide.
It's the apex in a really good fashion.
Aaron will lead into turn 1. Ryan comes through. Betsy and Coot go side by side. Betsy tries to see if he can get the run here on Ryan, but he can't get it done.
Oh, Urban, a long way back.
Oh.
Pass here. Oh dear, that's an unusual one. That is a big...
They're going at it together. Let's just get on board with Lev's point of view. Contact again. Contact again.
Speaking of Chris, send it. Oh, he has. Oh, lovely. Lovely move.
Ooh, closest you want to get, and it's closest you want to get in this pack. This could end in a safety car with, look at them all bunched up with each other.
In the P5, and here comes Car Gamer. Gets the move done. What about Mansell? He absolutely sends it on Jimmy.
Oh, back B. Crunchy.
Ibra. Oh, man. They were side by side.
Oh, we see one.
Yeah, this game's... Oh, and Embo goes off the track.
Oh,
Oh my!
image.
He's out of fuel.
He's out of fuel. He's out of fuel.
We saw this. We saw this at...
No.
He does not want another time penalty. And here he goes, Kangaroo Guy for the lead.
It's scripted stuff. Mark Scaife, how do you feel? Ryan's in!
Tell you what, he comes through here. Oh, hits the apex really nicely.
Oh, is he going to do it? Is he going to do it? He is from the outside. There's a little bit of contact.
Tell you what, this means Mitchie.
Oh, he's
Mitchie!
made the... Oh my god!
Ah!
Oh no!
Oh no! No, Mitchie! Image!
I don't know what to say. That was an unbelievable finish.
Wow. How we are doing, you beautiful people of the internet. It is that time again, as round 1 absolutely has come upon us. It is tomorrow night. So it is that time of the year that we do the Tier 3 driver introductions. Once again, Tier 3 driver introductions are also have been done for the past 2 seasons. 2 seasons. That shit, neither was I. To be fair, to be honest, I was actually going to do this tomorrow, but I thought, stuff it, we'll do it now. So, Tier 3 driver introductions, what are they? It's just, as I am the commentator for Tier 3, I introduce everybody to Tier 3, who is in what team. And, I am looking forward to this season. If last season was anything to go by, we're in for a fantastic season. Not sure if any of the other tier mods are going to do this. I I very much doubt it. Say your favorite to win, and it can't be your own team. Yeah, it will. You know, we'll see what happens. We'll see. We got Jack in the chat. How we doing, you beautiful human being? So, as I said, I am the comment. I'm everything tier 3. Literally everything tier 3. The tier mod, the commentator. Again, I own tier 3. We missed you too, Jack. But as I said, I don't know if the other tier mods are going to do this for their tiers, 1, 2, and 4. As I've very much doubt it. You live and breathe tier 3. Exactly, top. Exactly. So, you know, usually how I start off with these things is I go from like the top team, which is Mercedes, down. But you know what? Let's mix it up. So we're going to start, obviously, from the bottom. So we're going to Haas, Alpha, Williams, and all that. And I'm going to give my thoughts on each team, including my own. But usually my team comes at the very end. I usually do. So, because I'm the Ferrari team principal, I would have done Mercedes, Red Bull, then I would have went straight to McLaren. So, I'll go from McLaren to Red Bull, Mercedes, then Ferrari. So, I do them last. Not biased or anything. But, you know, yeah. So, we're going to kick things off with the Haas team. And also, I'll show you the quote-unquote standings. What have you. So Haas, you know, very, very new team this year, considering what happened last season with the Haas team. So, brand new driver lineup, brand new team principal. And it's Sparky and Phoenix. So, here we go, chat. Let's not beat around the bush. Haas were absolutely not great last season. It took them a fair while to actually score some decent points. Obviously, the drama with X-Laps and It's Your Boy leaving like 3 races in or whatever it was. Then they had a brand new team, essentially. Then It's Your Boy left. So, yeah. So Sparky is the new team principal at Haas. If you didn't know, where have you been? Why didn't you watch the draft? And Sparky last season didn't score a single point. So, and he was in the Mercedes with Kangaroo Guy. And Mercedes finished 4th in the Constructors. And Sparky didn't score a point. So, it's going to... Anything in round 1 tomorrow night at Bahrain is absolutely going to be monumental for Sparky. As I said, didn't score a point last season. The season before that, he was mid-table. So, I think last season was... I would say it's a write-off if he does well this season. For Sparky. Phoenix, I'm not 100% sure. This is his debut season, I do believe. I don't think he's racing OCE. So, this is his debut season in the Haas with Sparky. I think we're just going to wait and see with Haas. Where do I think they'll finish? I don't know. If Sparky Phoenix does every single race or miss not too many races, I think they could be in that midfield fight. You know, with the likes of the Astons, you know, maybe the Ferraris. Gives you a little bit of a hint of what I'm going to say about my own team. You know, I don't know who is actually a clear cut favorite for this tier in both drivers and constructors. It is so close between everybody. I think qualifying, now that it's gone to short qualifying and not full anymore, because nice tyre rule, it is going to be interesting to see how this team does. I think they can take advantage of some circuits, and pretty much the strategy is either hards to mediums or mediums to hards. If there's a late race safety car, which it usually always is with Tier 3, a very, very late race safety car, whack on a set of softs, maybe get rid of penalties if they have any. And I think I don't know if they can fight for podiums, but I think there's going to be a couple of rounds where they're going to pull off some big results for that team. So that's Haas done. So as I said, Haas, I think mid-table, mid to lower end of the table, maybe that 7th to 10th range again. But we're just going to have to wait and see. This is introductions plus predictions as well. So this is just me as a commentator. Nothing else. So yeah, I think 7 to 10 is probably the range. Anything above that is probably a bonus for them. So yeah, so we'll move on to Alfa Romeo and their new driver lineup. It is Doodleson and Escobar, which is formerly known as Potato. Ryan is in the chat. How we doing? So yes, Potato and Doodleson. Doodleson was like an 11th hour, as 11th hour pick for Alfa Romeo. He literally joined just after the draft ended, like the very next day, give or take. And Alfa Romeo, I think they got one decent driver, one mid-table driver, and that's just my view on it. I mean, there's probably Coach going off his head at me if he watches the back, saying why we aren't favourites for the title. I mean, they probably are, considering who else is on the grid. But Alfa Romeo, Potato and Doodleson, I think a bulk of their points is going to come from Potato, I have to say. I have raced with Doodleson in other leagues. Usually him and I have some battles. Always controversy between us two. But I think Doodleson, all in all, is actually a decent driver. I think there's just a couple of people that are a little bit quicker than him. Potato, probably going to be fighting for that title if he does every single race, which is an 18-race calendar, by the way, starting tomorrow night at Bahrain. Yeah, Doodleson, I think he'll be mid-range of the bottom 10 in the drivers. So maybe that 13th to 17th range. I've always stated that anything top 10 is golden. Even P10, it's a point. You beat 10 other drivers, and after round 1, whoever finishes 10th is going to be ahead of 10 other drivers. So, I think that's the mindset for Doodleson. Just get anything top 10. Let Potato do the bulk of the scoring, which I do believe that's what's going to happen anyway. I think Potato probably has enough pace for race wins and challenge for podiums. And I think I think they could be top 4 in the constructors. I think the constructors is going to be very, very tight. I think for most of the title contenders, it's going to come down to that second driver. That second driver is going to be all important for constructors, considering who's on the grid. And this team is one of them. So I think top four for constructors for this team. Potato probably the one fighting for the championship. Doodleson, as I said, that the 13th to 17th range, the mid-tier bottom 10 is probably where I think he'll end up. I don't see him scoring enough top 10s every race. So we're just going to have to wait and see with them. Also for Haas, I think with Sparky and Phoenix. With Sparky, I think he's in that 13th to 17th range as well. Phoenix, I have no idea. I think bottom 10 somewhere. I mean, round 1 he could come out and win. So he did show some pace in the trial race at USA. So anything could happen. So that's Haas and Alpha done. We'll move on to the Williams, my very first team. And they are driven by Zoltan and Car Gamer. Now, Car Gamer was in a championship fight last season. I think it'd be the same. I think him and Potato will be having a very close championship battle. There's a couple of others I'll throw in that mix as well, but we'll get to those later on. Car Gamer last season in the McLaren jump ships to the Williams with Mr. Daff as their new team principal. So he's, looking after the Williams this time round, taking over from Howdy. So Zoltan Zoltan's going to be an interesting prospect this season, I feel like. It's his third season in a row in this car. He's asked for a trade already because he's just sick of this car. He wants to do something different, which is, understandable. It's going to depend if Zoltan actually does leave this team. I don't know. I've heard some rumors. Not sure they're true, but it's it's all going to come down to if Zoltan moves. I think Williams probably lose their top 4 in the constructors. Because I think Zoltan has improved so much over the last 2 seasons. Was in tier 4, now in tier 3. He's made the jump up. He showed some decent pace at USA. From what I saw, and heard, and also at France as well. Car Game. He's going to be up there fighting for wins. I think he's turned off a couple of more assists. I think he's got no assists. If I'm wrong, I do apologise, Car Gamer, if you watch his back. But if Zoltan goes, I think, depending on where he ends up, Williams could either lose that top 4 or they could be constructors' favourites. If Car Gamer gets someone that's probably equal or someone better than him in terms of pace, I think they're constructors' favourites. It's all going to come down to whether or not Zoltan goes or not. As a Car Game, I think championship contender along with Potato. I don't know if he'll win it. He needs to be consistent though, because the first couple of rounds of last season, after the break, after Imola last season, he just those next 4 rounds he scored like 8-4. There was a 1 point in there. There was a 3 point in there. he needed to stay on podiums, at least try and beat Jimmy, finish ahead of him, and that's where he lost the championship to Jimmy last season. So if Car Gamer stays consistent, gets rid of the silly mistakes, I think he'll win this title pretty comfortably. As an 18-round calendar, I think the earliest someone could win it probably round 15, round 14, give or take. So, yeah, it's going to be interesting. Zoltan, on the other hand, I think he could be that 10 to 15 mark in the drivers. So, the top half of the bottom 10, probably where I think he could be. So that 10 to 15, I don't think he's below. I don't think he'll finish below 15th. I think he'll do very well in his debut season in Tier 3. If he stays in Williams, if he goes to another team, I really don't know. Depends on whose teammate's going to be, I guess, and his team principal. So yeah, the Williams, as I said, it's going to come down to the Zoltan move. Perhaps if he stays, Williams, I think top 4 in the constructors. I think Car Gamer will score the bulk of their points. Zoltan will finish as that 10 to 15 range. And I think that'll be a successful season for the Williams. After they did finish P3 last season, so the only way is up really for them. Who knows? Maybe they can win the whole thing. So that's Williams done, and now we move on to the Aston Martin, where probably three-quarters of the viewers are from. They're driven by Easy and Duck. So this was no shock to me, as I kind of expect. As soon as Easy wanted to be team principal, I knew what his teammate was going to be. So yeah, Easy and Duck, interesting pair. Easy did get on the podium a few times. Duck Puncher last season had an absolute shocker. I do know I will say this, he did get a podium last season, as I think he got a P2, I'm pretty sure, for Duck. Whether that can be replicated again is another story. So this is just me as the commentator. I think this team probably mid-table. Probably thinking 4th to 6th, maybe a 7th, a 4th to 7th. Zach Punches in the chat. Let's not talk about last season. We have to, because I'm basing predictions of last season and previous results as well. So it is going to be fascinating to watch this team go around this season. It's all going to be set up at every team's going to be set up at Bahrain. I think the 4th to 7th is probably the best that they can do, considering what happened last season in that car. Aston last season were absolutely nowhere. They were flying in qualifying, nowhere in the race. It wasn't until late in the season where the overall started to play on their minds, where they did score some decent points, but in the end, it was too late. They finished in the bottom 3. I think it was 8th or 9th or somewhere in between there. They're only not good acid team. But that's what I mean. In the other tiers, they were fine. Tier 3, they were nowhere. And they had a pretty decent lineup with Clappy and Notorious. And Clappy's now gone. Notorious has gone down to Tier 4. So this is a brand new team. It is a brand new team, brand new driver lineup with Easy and Duck. I think both Easy and Duck, I don't think they're in drivers' title contention. I mean, and hey, I'm happy to be proven wrong. It's the start of the season. This is me throwing darts at a paper wall. Yeah, exactly right. They had pace. As I said, they had in qualifying. They were flying. I think one of them got a pole. I think it was Clappy. They got pole. Notorious had number of top 10 starts. But after like lap 6, they were at the back. So, yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I think the 4th to 7th range is probably their best. If they get in that top 3, whew, a lot of work has been, which is good to see. We want to see a title fight between teams and not what happened last season. Now, Duck and Easy, I think the best is probably that 6 to 10, 5 to 10 range. I think Easy got like a P4 in the drivers, I think, or maybe a P5. Duck was way down the bottom. Like, I think that season's a write-off. I'll be happy to give Duck I'll be happy to give Duck last season a write-off. I mean, yes, he did score a podium, but other than that, I think he scored like a couple of seventh places, a P10, and the rest were DNFs all outside the points. So I'll give him the benefit of the doubt, Duck, and I'll say it's a write-off. New season, new car, new teammate. Let's see how it goes. For Easy, same thing. I don't know if he can replicate his podium antics again. I think he got one I know he got one at Baku, and I think there was somewhere else he got a podium at as well. So one to watch out for, I think, is going to be Aston. They're going to be very hard to overtake, I think. So we'll just have to wait and see as we move on to the AlphaTauri. Let me see who is their driver lineup. They are Mad Dog and George. So Mad Dog stays in So Mad Dog and George both technically move up after they're originally in T4, but they moved up to T3 because they were just way too quick. They're up in the T3. Mad Dog and George, brand new team. So Mad Dog is interesting. Mad Dog, he does have pace, but he does spin a lot. I think he's just got to remain calm, keep composure. And I think he'll do all right. I think at Williams, he did get a podium. I think it was at Mexico. I think that's his only really good result in the 2 seasons. I think last season he was a reserve, so I don't think we can count quite that. I think he did get a couple of high-ish places. I think he got P4 at Australia. I think, not 100% sure. Unless it's another season I'm thinking of. I do apologise. But, yeah, Mad Dog is interesting. George, in debut, I really don't know. It's hard to get a gauge on where the Z drivers will be at. Because it's going to be hard to predict where they're going to finish in the drivers. He was quick in he was quick at France in both tiers. From what I saw and heard at Tier 4, USA, I think he got pole at USA, but he was after the first corner. He was at the back. I think he had an incident with someone at turn 1. Shock, I know. It is Tier 1, but yeah, it is interesting with George. I think if he gets a clean race weekend in, I think he could win. Just by the USA pole lap. That's all I'm basing it on. Bahrain could be a complete mess. It could go the opposite way. I think he could start P20. Yeah, AlphaTauri is very hard to predict. But for argument's sake, I think they're going to be the either 8th, 9th, or 10th. I think for AlphaTauri. Itchy Boy is gonna hate me again because I predicted Haas last season to be bottom, and Itchy Boy was the team principal. I'm doing the same thing again because I don't know where to put them. They could be floating. Yeah, I don't know with AlphaTauri. There'll be a keen interest, I think. A keen interest. Not as interesting as the Aston, but I think interesting enough to, keep an eye on to see how they're doing. I mean, they could get a 1-2 at Bahrain. I mean, who knows? But it's hard to predict with these new drivers. So that's AlphaTauri done. Alpine is next. And they're driven by Awash and Scotty Mack. So Scotty Mack returns to Alpine. Awash makes the transition up from T4 to T3. So Scotty Mack didn't have the greatest of season last season, but I think he finished close to the top 10, maybe even P9 or P10. I can't remember. If I'm wrong, I do apologize. I think they're going to be at the bottom again. Or not again, but I think they're going to be at the bottom. I don't know where they're going to score their points from, whether score their points at. Awash is very consistent, by the way. He is very consistent. I have commentated him in other leagues and raced against him. I don't know if they'll get top 5s. If they do, I mean, it might be due to the fact to maybe some penalties, post-race penalties, that type of thing. But I don't know if they can be in the top 7 echelon. I think they're going to battle the AlphaTauri. I think it's going to come down to Wash and Mad Dog. The battle of the quote-unquote second drivers. Because I think Scotty and Jods are the team number 1 drivers. Yeah, I don't know with Alpine. The kind of it's a newish. It's half a new team really. It's going to come down to a wash, I think, to help out Scotty. Just to hold up cars, try to nick a P10, P9, maybe even a P8. And just hope for the best. If they come close to penalties, so be it. But other than that, I don't see them fighting top 7s in race trim. But then again, with the short quali, anything could happen. And no formation lap too. No formation lap because Cody still hasn't fixed out the host glitch yet. 3rd game in a row, so that's fantastic. So no formation lap, short quali. I think it could hamper Alpine. They're going to be one. I think 7th, 8th, 9th, or 10th with AlphaTauri. I think Alpine will beat AlphaTauri. So I think 9th, 8th or 9th is probably where they're going to be at. If they finish 9th, I think AlphaTauri will finish 10th. If they finish 8th, I think AlphaTauri will finish in either 9th or 10th. So yeah, so that's Alpine done. We'll go to McLaren. Another brand new driver lineup with Karma and Sultana, Kellogg Sultana brand. Now, Sultana is probably the number 1 driver. I think he turned off one of the assists. I can't remember if he said that or not. I think this is the 3rd of that bottom 3. that 8th, 9th, or 10th. I think the last three teams we just spoke about, McLaren, Alpine, and AlphaTauri, that's your 8th, 9th, and 10th right there, I think. Not necessarily in that order. I mean, it could be... I think it could be Alpine, AlphaTauri, McLaren. But, yeah. Sultana and Karma... Sultana has shown that he can be a very, very good teammate and score big points, but they're very few and far between. I think McLaren are going to be in a little bit of trouble after finishing second in the constructors last season. Goat's absolutely going to wrangle my neck. I think they're going to finish in the bottom three. I don't see them fighting for podiums. There might be the old... over the season, they might get a lucky podium. Maybe a lucky P4. A lucky P3. They won't... I don't think they'll get a race win. I'll be shocked if they get a race win. I think the only way they'll get a race win is probably a late safety car, and everyone else around them has a penalty. That's probably the only way, unless they get it on merit, which I haven't seen yet across the two pre-season races at France and USA. I don't know where they're going to score their big points from. They might nick a couple of P10s, a P9. Here and there, maybe a lucky P8, but other than that, I don't see them scoring any big point, like double-digit points, a top 5 finish, even a top 6 finish. So, yeah. And drivers for McLaren, I think they've got to be in that 15th or 20th mark. I think Alpine, probably the same thing with their drivers at 15th to 20th. AlphaTauri, it's going to be the same. So, I think those three teams right there is your 8th, 9th, and 10th. We'll move on to Red Bull. And, this is an interesting lineup. It's like a whoa. This is an interesting lineup for many reasons. One, because the henchman has returned to Red Bull, and he's got a brand new teammate in Cordier. So, henchman-Cordier partnership is interesting, but I don't see them getting a podium. If they get a podium, I think Henchman said that he was quick at Australia. I think Australia's on the calendar. Pretty sure. Yeah, it is. It's the 3rd round. So Henchman might be fighting for a podium at Australia. Cordier, I don't know. I'm trying to remember what results he got, what Cordier got last season. I don't think he got a top 4. I think he got a P5 somewhere. And all the rest were 6th to 10th. I think he might have got a lucky P4 somewhere. I need to double check that. But with Red Bull, I think that 5th or 6th spot is theirs. I think they'll beat AlphaTauri, Alpine, and McLaren. I think their battles with Aston. So the 5th and 6th spot could be interesting to watch throughout the season. I think they could also be fighting Haas as well. So 5th, 6th, and 7th. I think Haas will finish P7. I think Red Bull will finish in 6 and Aston will finish in 5. But I would not be shocked if that result changes. With Red Bull beating Aston, or Haas beating, Aston, or Aston beating the Red Bull. You know, Red Bull could easily finish P7 in the constructors. I don't think that's going to happen. They're too good of a drivers to not finish higher than P6 or below P6, I should say. But in saying that, I think Henchman will be scoring the bulk of their points. If he gets a good race in, I think he'll do very well. Kodia would need to help him out a huge amount. Get a couple of like P7s, P8s, P9s, even a P10, just to score double points for that team. A lot of pressure is going to be on Kodia's shoulders after Jimmy has now left. He's gone to tier 2, so Henchman is now the number 1 driver there. Kodia is the number 2. So Kodia has a lot of pressure on him to get results as quickly as he can. Because the first 4 races is where we're going to see where Red Bull are going to be at. Bahrain, Jeddah, Australia, and Imola with the sprint race. The sprint race could change everything, I think. So, one to watch out for there. As I said, Red Bull 5th or 6th. Drivers, I think Henchman will get a top 10. That's 6th to 10th. Cordia, maybe that 11th or 12th, 11th to 15th range in there somewhere. One to watch out for, I think, is going to be Red Bull. And now, Mercedes. Only the one driver, Urban Groves. So if you want to come in and drive it, be Urban Groves' teammate, come on in, come to a Discord, register, send in your times, and we'll get you sorted into a tier. If you happen to be in tier 3, there's an open spot at Mercedes with the legend himself, Urban. I literally forgot Urban's that he's on his own. If he does not get a teammate, I messed up. Oh, literally forgot Urban was on his own. Oh, crap team mod. Oh, get him out. Shiver. So if Urban does not get a teammate, I think it's going to be hard for Urban to beat anybody in the constructors. He desperately needs a teammate. I mean, yeah, there's 2 reserves. One of them's going to be racing this week in that Mercedes. So at least you'll have a teammate for Bahrain at least. But for the rest of the season, I don't know what Mercedes can do. Urban and the drivers, I think he'll be fine. I think he'll be top 10. I think Urban can definitely be a top 10, drivers, in the driver standings. I think he'll battle for podiums. Maybe even a race win. I don't know where. Could be the first round, could be the last round. Because Urban does his weird strategies. If there's a safety car, he'll just stay out. Let them, it is what it is. So interesting to see how he is going to go by himself. If he gets a teammate, maybe Merc could be one to watch out for. But at this stage, I think Urban by himself could potentially beat Haas. No, not Haas. AlphaTauri. I think he could beat McLaren. And I think he could beat Alpine. So maybe a P7 in the constructors might not be a bad shout if it's just him on his own. It's gonna be hard, but I think he could beat one of those 3 teams. If he does, that's a really good season for Mercedes, considering only one driver. No, you're not. Sorry, I'm just reading chat. No, you're not. It is, yeah, interesting to see how Mercedes goes. So, this brings us to the final team, and it's Ferrari. They are joined by Wooly and Elong. So, Elong did a Doodleson. He joined like virtually straight after the draft was completed. So, Elong is now in Ferrari with Wooly. Wooly and Elong. Interesting driver pair. So, I think... So, the reason Elong missed so many rounds last season was due to work. I think he's going to work around that. I'm not sure what the situation is there. But Ferrari have two drivers. Wooly could be a championship contender if he keeps it clean. He needs to keep it clean. Otherwise, we could have a last season situation. So, if he keeps it clean, keeps it consistent, I think he could be a championship contender. Elong, I think his only points last season was a P3 at Bahrain. So, Elong can get onto the podium. Can he do it consistently enough for Ferrari to take the title fight to the likes? Actually, now this is 100% no bias from me. This is just the commentator speaking now. I think Ferrari could have the better all-round team. I mean, Car Gamer and Zoltan's going to be interesting. It's all going to come down to what Zoltan does. If he stays, if Ferrari wins, could go at it again. If he goes, depending on what teammate he gets, I don't know. Zoltan could go anywhere. He's not coming to Ferrari. I don't think he'll go to Mercedes. Because literally there'll be Zoltan by himself and Urban and Car Gamer. That is a driver lineup right there, ladies and gentlemen. If Urban goes to Williams, I mean, Ferrari and a Williams title fight, constructor title fight, could be back on the cards. Anyone else that stands out? Maybe Aston, but I don't think so. Red Bull? I don't know. I don't think so either. It's all going to come down to that Zoltan maneuver. If he goes, depending on where he ends up, because I think Zoltan is a better driver than most of the drivers here. I think he'll finish higher than most of the drivers here. I do believe. He has improved so much. Daff needs to do all he can to keep him. He really needs to. Otherwise, he may as well just... Otherwise, Williams just may as well throw in the towel now. But obviously we're on Ferrari, but it's all going to come down to that Zoltan move, I think. I really, really do. So, yeah. If Urban gets if a new driver comes in, be Urban's teammate, depending on what his pace is like, Mercedes could join in the party. Honestly, I don't know. This constructor's title is going to be up for grabs for anybody. I think Ferrari could be slight favourites, but not by much. Absolutely not by much. Like, if you go on sports bets, Ferrari would probably be like, you know, $1.20. Maybe Williams might be $1.22. You know, that's how close it could be, or what I think it is anyway. Let us know what you think. Surely the drivers in the Discord absolutely hammering me, saying, "Why are you saying this?" You know, it's a prediction. I mean, they're supposed to be wacky. You know, wacky, bold predictions. It's my job to predict, because as the commentator, otherwise, what's the point? So, yeah, I think Ferrari's slight favourites for the constructors. The driver's title is interesting. I have no idea who's going to win it. There's Potato, there's Wooly, there's Car Gamer, there's who else could be one? Maybe a duck. Maybe a duck puncher could surprise a few. Honestly, there's 4 names right there. Obviously, I'm not going to name all of them. I think the first 3 I said are probably the 3 you would expect to see fight, which is Wooly, Car, and shoot, who else did I say? Potato. So yeah, Potato. Sorry, I do apologize. So Potato, Wooly, and Car. Those are the 3 main that you might see them up there fighting for that title. You know, we might come revisit this halfway through. I think there is a break at the October long weekend. I think that's like after like round 6 or something. No, round 8. So we'll have the 2 weeks off, and then we might come to revisit this again. So, you know, hey, I could be wrong with everything, and I'm happy to be proven wrong. You know, I've always stated this, I'm happy to be proven wrong. This is just, nobody has gone out on track yet, apart from the 2 pre-season races. Well, we can't judge on a pre-season race. It has to be, you know, a race where points are up for grabs. That's where we're going to see the drivers themselves are going to test themselves. But, ladies and gentlemen, that is it. That is the Season 4 T3 driver introductions. Thank you ever so much for tuning in. 57 minutes. I need to cut these down. But yeah, I don't know if the other tier mods are going to do this. I don't think Goats will. I don't think Kahoot will. Maybe Mitchie might do something for tier 1. I'm not sure. He might even do it for Bahrain. But yeah, so those are my thoughts. Let us know what you think in the YouTube comments when this gets posted up. But yeah, until next time, it is goodbye, and we'll see you on Thursday night, tomorrow night when I'm streaming this right now, for round 1 of Season 4 at Bahrain. The lobby will not be messed up. I promise you, I've fixed that up. I've turned off Formation Lap. So, we are Gucci on that front. Until then, it is goodbye. We'll see you for round 1 at Bahrain.